and leading people within our sarcoma community. And normally it's always a hard choice because there are so many people who would deserve these kind of awards or this kind of thank you. And so it's always a hard discussion for us to do it. But I think this time it was quite very quick who should deserve this. And we have done this, I think, the first time in 2010. During our 10th anniversary, we have done this the first time where we honored patient advocates and also experts, and we want to do this from time to time during the next years. Okay, so with this, I'm happy to hand over to Gerard or maybe you want to?
Okay, it's really a great honor for me to present this award to Winette van der Graaf. And please come forward. And if anyone deserves this award, I think you are certainly one of them. But for me, it's very special, not just because we know each other and because we are from the same country. And I know your importance both nationally and internationally, but also because you are, for me, very much connected to SPAGN. I became a patient advocate myself in 2013. And one of the first things I was confronted with was the SPAGN conference. It was my first SPAGN conference in 2013 in London. And you were there. And I remember that we had a dinner on the riverside of the Thames, and we were sitting on the same table. And maybe you don't remember anymore, but I do, because it was a very special occasion. And of course, we had many more collaborations and meetings afterwards, also nationally and internationally. But for me, you were very much connected to SPAGN and therefore also with the importance of the patient component in the whole treatment of sarcomas. And in particular, I want to mention the collaboration that you started. I don't exactly recall the date, but it was a few years ago when you called Markus and Catherine. I was there as well from the SPAGN side, and we had a meeting with you at the National Cancer Institute in Amsterdam together with Olga Huson. And you said, well, we need to collaborate and see how we can set up what we call a patient sorry. I didn't sleep very much. It's patient partner research network. And this was a start of a very good collaboration and to involve the input from the patients. So it's really a great honor for me to hand this award to you, and you deserve it. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you very much. It's a great honor to be awarded by patients. And I think as doctors here in the room, we are all working for patients every day. And I think the movement over the last decades to work with patients to improve their care is really changing the landscape. And I would like to emphasize it's always teamwork. It's not one person who brings in new ideas. It's doing something together. Thank you.
And I have the great privilege of honoring Dr. Jonathan Fletcher. If he would please come forward. Dr. Fletcher. As we learned yesterday, many people think of Dr. Fletcher as a pathologist, but as he told us, he was really trained in medical and pediatric oncology. And it was really with the engagement of patients that really led him to select a career in pathology. But I think we think about him in terms of his contribution to diagnosis, and that's why people think about him as a pathologist, and that's so important to patients to have accurate diagnosis. So his clinical work is incredibly important to our community, and I know that we're all very grateful for the work that he does in that area. But he's also a research scientist, and he has made incredible contribution to the understanding of the biology of GIST and leading to the treatments of GIST and improving outcomes for patients. And as he mentioned yesterday, that even we can begin to think that there are patients who are cured of their GIST. And it was with the contribution of Dr. Fletcher that we are at this place. But in addition to his clinical and his research scientist contribution, I've also had the opportunity to see how Dr. Fletcher has recruited, trained, and mentored the next generation of sarcoma physician scientists, and how important that's going to be for the future of all of us who deal with sarcoma. And additionally, he has an incredible ability to bring together teams to work together and make progress. And I've seen over time how he has inspired, motivated, gotten people to work together across disciplines to make progress. And lastly, I think that we've seen at this conference, and I've seen over the years, Dr. Fletcher's ability to engage with the patient community and the patient advocates. And we are just eternally grateful for what he has done for people who are facing sarcoma today and for the people who are going to be diagnosed tomorrow. So Dr. Fletcher, for your contributions, we give you this Lifetime Achievement Award.
It's very hard for me to be up here. There are things I do well, but receiving honors is definitely not one of them. I don't like them, I don't know why, but I love the work, I love you all, and I love the opportunity to do what I and my group, what we've done and what we'll continue to do to make progress in these fields. And every time somebody speaks in this conference, it reminds me of so many wonderful things. I mean, obviously, this introduction was a little bit too kind, right? But so appreciated. I'm just going to say three things maybe. I started in medical school to be a general practitioner or a psychiatrist, and I've become a scientist. It's a wonderful thing. Medicine gives you many pathways to follow, but it'll give you a sense. In medicine, I was just spending all my time on the streets, going out, seeing patients, spending time, and I lived in the hospital. And it means so much to me if I'm going to get an honor, to get it from you, the folks who are directly connected with disease rather than industry or something like that. Nothing wrong with that. So that's one thing. Maybe I'll cut it to two so that we can keep moving. The second thing is that I love getting this now because it's so clear from the conference starting yesterday, and what many of us know, that this next 5 years in terms of the power of advocacy, the perspective of advocacy, the leverage of advocacy, and we really are figuring out, I think, because we see the opportunities. The motivation has to come from opportunity. And we see how even with basic science, let alone clinical trials, that the advocates' perspective, contribution, hard work is going to take things to the next level, right? So I just think it's wonderful being here, appreciate all you're doing, and thank you for this honor, this award.
So it's now my pleasure to honor two patient advocates who have done a fantastic work during the last 20 years within the community. And first of all, I want to honor Norman Scherzer. Unfortunately, he's not able to be with us, not because of health reason. We have had a discussion, he's doing well, he's doing fine, but he has a family appointment, so he's not able to be with us. I met Norman the first time 22 years ago in a very small town in Switzerland called Diessenhofen. And we have had our first patient advocacy meeting in Diessenhofen called New Horizons GIST. And this was a small meeting, 30 people sitting around the table and discussing the situation of GIST patients and CML patients, because this was a meeting that was formally organized by Novartis. And I was extremely impressed by this guy from the US, about his knowledge, but also about his personality, about his engagement, and also about his leadership and advocacy. So from this, I learned a lot from him from an early beginning, because I was a baby advocate at this time, so I really have had the opportunity to learn from him. And so we met, I think 1 year later, we visited him in his office in New Jersey. And so we have had 2 very intense days and discussing issues, and we learned a lot from each other. And now looking to the last years, I think he did a fantastic work by developing an organization, the LifeRef Group, but also he's one of the really leaders from within the GIST community, driving the GIST community forward. He was one of the patient advocates who very early suggested patient involvement in clinical research, and really he also was able to practice it. And also he drive a lot of things forward, like for example, and we come with our next session, we will come to patient experience data. So that means they, within the LifeRef Group, set up a registry, a GIST registry, for example. So unfortunately, we are not able to hand this over directly to him, but now during the last 22 years, I think we met, I would say 50 times during the last 22 years, and always since 2007, my daughter was born in 2007, he always asked me, Markus, how's the baby doing? And if we would be here today, I would tell him the baby is doing fine and she will celebrate her 18th birthday in September. That's about the baby. So, unfortunately, we can't hand it directly, so maybe someone from the organization would just come and So, and our second award goes to Estelle Lecointe, just Estelle. We know each other also now for a long time. I think we met the first time 2005 in Dublin, and she was a young lady somewhere in the 20s, somewhere in the 20s. And she was very motivated to start a patient advocacy group in France, a GIST group. And we have had a lot of conversations during the meeting, and but she did it. So because we have seen a lot of people coming to New Horizons very motivated, and then they disappear and nothing happened. But she really made it and started a GIST group in France, and later on also a sarcoma group in France. We are also the co-founders of SPAGN in 2009, together in Bad Nauheim, but she's also a very well-known advocate in France by not just working in GIST and sarcomas, but for a lot of different, or for all cancers, also involved in the political arena. So thank you very much, Estelle.
We're trying not to cry, sorry. Thank you very much for this award. I have to say, it's still a big surprise to me because you've got to know I've just discovered it yesterday when opening the conference booklet. I had a sleepless night because, let's be honest, it was a big emotional shock. It took me some hours to cope with it because we are all so involved in our activities. We are so dedicated in such a natural way that we never consider nor expect such a thing to happen. So thank you for this gentle surprise. I'm a patient advocate, but I'm a GIST patient first. And you've got to know I almost have no memories of my life before GIST. This diagnosis has been like a big reset in my brain. And since then, I never stopped working. In a way, patient advocacy has been like a second birth with a new family, making myself so busy and committed that I like to say that I had no time to die. And even today, I'm still convinced that this is mainly why I'm still here. Beyond my emotions, I feel very proud and honored to be awarded among these three brilliant and devoted people who have always been a source of admiration and inspiration to me, and who are for sure one of the reasons why I always considered it was worth to keep going day after day, month after month, and year after year. I'm also thinking of the volunteers of my organization, of the experts of the French sarcoma group who have always trusted and supported me since the very beginning in 2005. Of course, I also have a special thought for Markus, Roger, Catherine, and Mickey, who have been my European partners in crime for 15, 20 years, and who also strongly contributed to what you call today my life achievement. They would clearly so deserve to share this award with me. And indeed, we are so many here in this room to dedicate our lives in this never-ending job. And I also would like to thank you for all the time you give to others without counting the hours and sometimes the time far from your families to try and save patient lives and to provide this support to them and their carers. Still, I also feel like a little bit sad because this award also makes me realize that I'm getting old. I mean, I just started to admit it since I'm not able to read a single line without my glasses. But life achievement, wow. From now on, I'm officially a member of the Seniors Club. It makes me remind of a wise statement from a great French medical philosopher most of you may not know. His name is Axel Le Sen. And he's my oncologist, by the way. He's got a great sense of humor. And 10 years ago, I confessed I was a bit annoyed about blowing my 40 candles, and he told me this: Estelle, don't complain because you're getting old. Just enjoy it because it was not expected. And today, with this award, I know he was right. And even though I can't have myself to be so emotional, I'm sorry, I feel happy to be 50, and thought, even though I hope my life is not already achieved. It makes me realize how all these extra years have been useful to improve the journey of other GIST and sarcoma patients, what is obviously another good reason for me to continue. Thank you very much.